a lot of people ask me, even other content creators, so what if a game is woke? Like, what is your problem with wokeness? Why are you against wokeness? This is something that even Rags asked me while playing Dungeons and Dragons on a stream with him. And the answer to this question is given by the industry higher-ups themselves. Like, here you have the Dungeons and Dragons senior game designer, who, by the way, didn't create the game. He inherited the IP, but he is not responsible for creating the worldwide phenomenon which Dungeons and Dragons is. Like, you can go to Romania, you can go to China, you can go to Uganda, and everyone there has heard of Dungeons and Dragons. It is that popular, right? And yet the senior game designer is disavowing because it was made by white dudes. They have this ideology that if European make something, it is inherently bad, like it is evil. It requires changing. It is broken by default. Like, it's almost like saying because penicillin was invented by white dudes, then penicillin is wrong. It's not okay to use it. It's like taking that mentality but applying it to culture. Like, oh, electricity, it's made by white dudes. No, we can't just have it the way it is. We gotta change something about it because it's inherently evil. You know, is this level of religious fanaticism? I mean, there are people who believe like, oh, my son needs a blood transfusion. Well, my religion is saying that that's not okay. It's kind of like using that logic, like that type of zeal and fanaticism, and applying it to culture. That's what woke people are. That's how they think, right? Like you can't ration with them. You can't reason with them. Even if something is so popular that it goes around the world, they are still convinced that it is bad just because it is made by Europeans. Or that if you have something that caters to men, it is evil, it is broken, we need to change it. If you have something that caters to women, it's fine. Like Justin Bieber, right? Justin Bieber was 13 when he started singing. He had a lot of women foaming at him, you know, like having posters of him and on their walls, salivating for him at his concerts. There was no problem with that. No one talked against it. No one brought it up. No one had an issue with it. No one saw anything problematic about elderly women salivating for a 13-year-old boy. But if the roles were reversed, holy shit, right? So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that. And here you have the arrogance, right? Like, you have these people that instead of trying to understand, it's like, why is this a world phenomenon? Why do people from different languages from all around the world are playing this tabletop game? No, they're like, no, the game is bad. It would never be approved today. It would never pass our inclusivity reviews. And instead of saying, well, maybe the inclusivity reviews are horseshit. Like, if you have a game that without inclusivity reviews is popular in Mexico, it's popular in Botswana, it's popular in Japan, without inclusivity, then maybe inclusivity is the problem. But National Socialists also use the word socialism, and it's probably you guys that will try to go out of their way to convince me that they're not real socialists. So maybe it's not real inclusivity. Did that occur to you? You know, like, they're whining about Dragon Ball and Mr. Popo, and it's like, oh my god, the depiction of Mr. Popo is so problematic, you guys. And yet, Mr. fucking Popo and Dragon Ball, huge success. Huge success amongst the African-American community. Like some of the most viewed anime commentators on YouTube are black people. And do you know what they like? Almost universally, all of them, Dragon Ball. Right? So maybe your inclusivity, your idea of inclusivity, maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe you haven't formulated correctly. Just because it comes from the academia doesn't mean it's correct. So it's just like so bizarre. You know, to see something, like I would understand this level of criticism to something that's not popular. Right? Like if someone takes something that's not popular, like female Ghostbusters, and they're like, well, you know, like female Ghostbusters had these issues, and we believe we can fix it and make the brand work. That's great. You know, like if you do that, you know, you're like hiring the Dude Bro consultancy group, which is something that I want to create, you know? And my take would be, have big fat tits in it. Like if it already has tits in it, they're not big and fat enough. And guns, lots of guns. It will sell. That's my take, right? You hire me as a consultant, I will make you print money. I will guarantee to you, you know, fat, massive tits like that, big asses as well, and guns. And you hire me as your consultant, you make those changes, it will work, right? It will fly off the shelf. So basically, if you do that with an IP that's not popular, right? You do that with something that's not popular, I would understand your point. But if you take something that's already popular, like if you would hire me as a consultant for Demon Slayer or My Hero Academia, I would be like, well, I don't think I can make it better. Like, it already is good. What are you talking about? Like, you don't need me. You're doing great. It's just, I can't add anything to that, right? Because I know my limitation, but these arrogant twats don't know their limitation. They don't have any limitations. They make these changes. And when they see that the product fails or flops, they double down. And to see, like, what is wrong with woke games. Well, look what is wrong with woke games. Woke culture would not allow Dungeons and Dragons to be created rags. Because we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And they're admitting that if it came out today, it wouldn't be allowed to pass. It wouldn't pass the inclusivity reviews. So, following a lengthy summary of the book's content as well as its own history with the franchise, Tondro was eventually met by observation from Kenrick that it's important to note that this is a historical document, so there are things here. It was a different time, so he had inclusivity reviews of all these materials. This is like beyond disturbing, you know? I guess, like, for them, they're treating the original Dungeons and Dragons like Mein Kampf. That can only be published if you have, like, additional information, you know, like, after every page you have, like, another author debunking what's on the previous page, you know? Like, they actually did that in some countries. This is how they view it. They view it as heretical literature online with Mein Kampf. It's insane. It's a board game. Now a lot of people have asked on Twitter, why is it that you don't have other board games, right? Like what's to stop people from making an edgy board game? Like the Dude Bro board game with massive fat tits, guns, racismus, sexismus, all the shit. There would be plenty of hurdles if you try to do that. First of all, you may get deplatformed from many websites. Like, for instance, there was a guy in Comicsgate, I don't know his name, but he had this comic in which the superhero beat up a couple of gang members to rescue a woman. And because the gang members were of Latinx descent, like that wasn't even mentioned in the comic. It's just like, you know, he made the gang members look like MS-13 gang members, you know, like he took from reality and he adapted to the comic book. He got banned from one of these Kickstarter websites. Like, that's what happens is when you try to go indie. All the events have gatekeepers, like they won't let your game be played at one of these events. I remember there was an article in BBC News which had this game master who in his game had a rape scene, right? So like Game of Thrones shit. Now, it wasn't graphic or anything, it was implied, but of course the lefties at the table, they got up and they went to the judge and the guy got kicked off and his name appeared in the fucking BBC. I mean, this is the level of moral panic that we're at. This is the level of ridiculousness where fantasy is policed. Like, they're policing people's fucking fantasy in order to sanitize the culture. So you're asking me what is wrong with woke? This is what's wrong with it. It's the culture. It's fucking toxic. Holy shit. If these people existed back when I was playing soccer in my neighborhood, you know, like back in my day, people actually got to play outside. And the level of hate speech that I was capable of, oh Dios mío, I would probably have to serve like 40 years in prison in a Canadian jail. But back then, you know, people were allowed to say and think whatever they wanted, and it was fine. Like, no one committed any crime or anything, except for the hate speech, I guess. But now, you know, they would definitely be interested in putting an AI or something in the football so that they can hear what the kids are talking. They can harvest the data and make sure that they can blackmail the kids later on when they grow up, huh? Yeah, I don't see a good future for Dungeons and Dragons. It's absolutely sad, and this entire culture where they're inheriting things that were made by people better than them, creative people, people who managed to make something successful, They're sitting on the shoulders of giants while spitting on the giants. Absolutely disturbing. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, if you want to support the channel, there is a pinned comment in the comment section. You just need to scroll down a little bit. And there's some links that will take you to a way which you can get buyer's remorse. And hopefully I'll see you guys there. And take care.